All right, so in that last video, we saw how Amanda invested $500 per month and turned it into over $2.9 million. And so we're gonna break down a little bit about how that works, about why that works, about why you can turn this relatively modest amount of money monthly into millions of dollars over time. And so I saw, this is called a compound growth table. I saw this in high school. It blew my mind, it changed my life. I hope it changes your life too. And we're gonna break it down right now. So this is that same example of saving $500 per month that Amanda did, which turned into $2.9 million. In year number one, $500 times 12 months is $6,000. That's where this $6,000 number comes from right there. If you get a 10% rate of return on $6,000, 10% of 6,000 is 600 right here, and 6,000 plus 600 is 6,600. So if you do this for 1 year, you'll have 6,600 bucks, 600 of which is growth. You know, that's not bad. 6,600 bucks is a lot of money, a year's worth of savings. You've done well for yourself, but it certainly isn't a life-changing amount of money. But let's go forward. In year number two, you save that same $6,000, 500 bucks a month. So now, but let's look what happens now. So on that $6,000 you save, you get your 10% rate of return, which is 600 bucks. But this doesn't say 600 because you also get paid again from the previous year's rate of return, which is another 6,000. So this 6,000 plus this 6,000 is 12,000. So you actually get 1,200 bucks. You get 10% on all of this, which is 1,200. But look, it doesn't say 1,200 here either. It says 1,260. So where does that 60 come from? That 60 actually comes from the growth of the last year's growth, this 600 here. So remember last year's 600 bucks, now that it's part of your investment, that growth is creating new growth, and 10% of 600 is 60, which is where the 60 comes from. And so that is the little seed, the little beginning of the magic of compound growth. And so you can see after 2 years, you have 13,860. That's a pretty serious chunk of change after 2 years of saving. Most of that is still that $12,000 is what you put in, but now, you know, the 1,860 here, the extra is actually from the growth. All right, we're gonna fast forward now. We're gonna go to year number 10. In year number 10, I'm gonna drop down there. In year number 10, you're still saving 500 bucks a month, but now look at your growth. It's over $9,000. So only 10 years in, and by the way, I'm 41. If you're younger, if you're my age or in your 30s, you start to know that 10 years kind of goes in the blink of an eye. If you're 22, you might think that 10 years is a long time, but trust me, when you're 32, you're gonna realize it went fast. But just 10 years, you now have $105,000, and more importantly, the growth is actually more than what you put in. So what has happened here is this is a snowball effect. It's called compound growth because the growth creates growth, which creates growth. And just 10 years in, it's like a runaway snowball where what you're saving, the work you're doing when you're going to work and saving the money and putting that money in, that is actually less important at this point than the actual snowball effect of it just going on its own. So you can actually stop investing now, and this investment would continue to exponentially grow forever. But let's fast forward one more time and go to year number 40. Look at that. Now you're getting $265,000 a year. And if I get out of the way, for the total of $2.9 million. Can you imagine? So this would start as just $600 of growth in year number one. In year number 40 is $265,000 per year. How amazing. That is how you retire early, become financially independent. Your total invest is $240,000 and the final investment is $2.9 million, over 10 times more money, more like 12 times. All right, let's look at that as a chart. So you can see here, this blue amount here is that same cash under the mattress. That's like how much money if you just saved it up. And early on, it's a little bit hard to see because it's so small, but in the first 10 years, most of the money is just from your savings. But as time goes on, this red line is actually the growth of what you save. It's like those 600 bucks every year. Your 600 bucks growth on your 6,000. You can see that gets bigger and bigger over time because you're getting paid for all the previous years. And then this green is the growth of the growth. That's what starts as 60 bucks, that little tiny seed that's too small to even see back here. As time goes on, it becomes the biggest portion. In fact, it's like, over 2/3, whereas what you put in is less than 10%. And so this shows the magic power of compound growth and why rule number 2 of building wealth is to invest early and often. It would be great if I could just tell you the magic secret, the magic cryptocurrency, the magic NFT, some magic just become wealthy overnight. But real wealthy people like myself and other millionaires, they invest over long periods of time. They start early and often and let compound growth do the work. Okay, so we're still kind of in abstract land here. And so the next question is, how do you make this real? These are just Excel sheets and charts. How do you actually turn this into real life, which we're going to go over in the next video.